Hey, how's it going? Welcome to Learn English Wise. I'm Gustavo and I'm here sharing strategies to help you achieve English fluency faster. So in today's video, we'll be talking about another memorization technique. It's the most powerful technique that I know to this day. It's called the memory palace technique. This technique's been used for emperors and kings of the past to memorize full speeches when they went to address their nation and they didn't want to have a piece of paper to refer to. They just used this technique to learn by heart the whole speech and to give that speech in front of a huge crowd. So that's how powerful this technique is, and today I'll be sharing that with you in a step-by-step process and example on how to use that technique to memorize words and phrases specifically. We've talked already about how to memorize words in a previous video, the power of context and association of old knowledge of yours with new knowledge, for instance, in this case, new words. So if you haven't seen that video, I'll leave a card somewhere up here and just go give that a watch so that you have a better understanding of how our brain operates, and so it's easier for you to understand what I'm going to tell you. Cool. We already know the power of associating and connecting new information to things we already know. Cool. So what if we could go even deeper into the process of connecting and associating words with things we already know in our brain? That's exactly what the memory palace techniques allows us to do. But before we dive into the content, let me quickly introduce a few things. We have a part of our brain called the hippocampus, which is responsible for emotions, spatial awareness, and navigation. And it also happens to be responsible for short and long-term memory. Interesting, hey? That's why it is much easier to remember songs, faces, routes from a place to another, interesting images, videos, as opposed to written words, written text, numbers, random characters, and addresses. So if you take this word that you want to remember and you put it into a phrase, that's a context. You've wrapped it around one layer of context. That's powerful. So if you get that phrase, you associate a compelling and creative image that represents that phrase. You've wrapped it around the second layer of connection. That's even more powerful. And then you get this image that you've just created and you place it into your palace, which is a place that you know really well. Let's say I use the house that I grew up in. So I know that house. If I close my eyes right now, I can walk into that house. I can tell you where the appliances are and the furniture and the picture frames, and I can tell you exactly every single detail of that house. So you have a palace of your own. To think of that palace and place this picture, this image that you have created in, let's say, in your living room. And every time you go inside of your living room, you can see that image that represents a phrase and which has the word you wanted to remember embedded in. So this is so powerful. This is really tremendous. It's really a great way to memorize anything. And I've got 3 words, and you're gonna walk through these words and use the memory palace technique for real. The first word we want to learn is the word detrimental. Cool. So we want to memorize the word detrimental. So first what we do, we put detrimental within a phrase. And the phrase is detrimental to your health. Something is detrimental to your health. So that's the phrase which detrimental was embedded in. So cool, we've got a phrase now. We need to associate this phrase with an image. Let's create this compelling and creative image of this sentence. So I would think of a person seated on a table eating a lot of ice cream, and the person is feeling a bit sick and almost passing out, and I would come up to that person and say, hey, that's really detrimental to your health. Eating this much ice cream, it's detrimental to your health. Cool, so that's a picture. A person, sick person, eating a lot of ice cream, sitting on a table. And I come up to that person, I tell him that that behavior is detrimental to his health. So we've got a phrase, we've got the word, we've wrapped it up on a sentence, and then we have created an image to refer to that sentence. Cool? And now what we do, so in my head, I have my house, the house that I lived in for many years. So I'm going to be placing that image on the front step of the entrance of my house. So before I get to the door, the front door, I'll put the image of a guy sitting on the table eating ice cream. Cool? All right. So the next word is acquaint. And the phrase that we're going to connect to that is, you should acquaint yourself with the rules of the house. So let's say you should acquaint yourself with the house rules. Again, that's the phrase, that's the word. Now let's create a picture, an image to associate this phrase with. So let's say I walk in the house wearing my dirty shoes, and the lady comes up to me and she scolds me and tells me, hey, you can't walk in with dirty shoes. That's part of the house rules. So you should acquaint yourself with the house rules. I'll go, whoa. Cool, we've got the image. So the image of a lady scolding us, telling that we should acquaint ourselves with the house rules. That image reminds us of the phrase, that reminds us of the word. So I'm going to place that image. Once I get into my house, I'll go open the door, there's the living room. And I have that person right in the living room, that image right in the living room. Cool. Third word. Third word is feasible. So let's make up a phrase here. This business idea is not feasible. So let's create an image. I picture this person sitting on a tent on like a lemonade stand, but instead of selling lemonades, this person is selling caviar, which is really expensive. And he's selling it for $1 per serve. So he's selling a very expensive food for $1. So he's losing money actually. So I'll get to him and I'll tell him, hey mate, this business idea of yours, it's not feasible. That's not feasible at all. So now we have 3 images that we've created. The front of the house, I've got an image. Then I walk through the door, living room, I've got my second image. And on the left, in the bedroom, I've got the third image. So now what you do, you retrace your pattern. So you walk in your head from the front entrance of your house and walk back into the living room, and then you go to the bedroom to the left. And you're able to see those images. So if I now close my eyes and think of it, I can see at my doorsteps, I can see a person seated on a table eating ice cream, and it just clicks in, and I can remember that I get to him and say, mate, that's really detrimental to your health. You shouldn't be eating this much ice cream. When I walk into the door with my dirty shoes, this lady comes up to me telling me that I should acquaint myself with the house rules, because you shouldn't be wearing dirty shoes inside of the house, part of the house rules. So I should acquaint myself with the house rules. And then when I go to my left, to the bedroom, suddenly see this lemonade stall selling caviar for $1. And I get to him and say, mate, this is not feasible at all. You're going to be losing money. This idea of yours, this business idea, is not feasible. You see how powerful it is, how easy it is to remember if you wrap the information you want to learn in 3 layers: context, then you put on an image, then a spatial reference, a location, a place. That's so much power. You can remember everything. So that's what I used to do to remember words, to practice, to review my flashcards daily. If I'm going to review 10 flashcards, I just quickly go through my house, and for every phrase, I create a picture, and I place that picture within one of the rooms of my house, or maybe in the yard, backyard, side yard, at the front of the curbside, the food path. And as you walk through, retracing your pattern back in, you can remember each phrase through the picture you've created and associated with. So that's tremendous. That's powerful. I really want to use that technique. Try it out for yourself. Get a list of words, get 10 words, 5 words, write it down, put them into a phrase, and associate an image to each phrase, and place it within the house that you live in right now, or that you've lived in for many years. Try that yourself. You're going to see how powerful it is, and you realize that it is a really great way to memorize vocabulary. And that was it for today's video. I really hope you guys liked it, and just remembered one thing. I want to say hello for my friend Ryan Kim. Hey Ryan, thanks for subscribing to our channel. I hope to see you around. All the best to you. Okay, and for those of you who have come this far in this video, special thanks. Leave a comment. I want to know what you think. Try this technique out and come and tell me the results. Alright, if you liked it, please hit the like button, subscribe, and activate the notification bell to be notified as soon as I post a new video. Stay safe everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.